Okay, guys, so we're going to finish this up. I promise it won't take very long. So, we were talking about some major problems with absolutism. So, the first major problem that we talked about is the fact that while absolutism might be efficient, if you have like good leaders, if you have unfit or irresponsible leaders, you're in deep trouble. The other big problem that we have to talk about with regards to absolutism is that across the board, no matter where we are talking about, France, India, Japan, what we tend to see is that with absolutism, you see incredible overspending and extremely heavy taxation by monarchs. Usually, this is because what's happening is that monarchs are trying to show that they own the space, that they have power, and they establish that power through construction. That when they conquer new places, they physically occupy that place. And that means that they have to build a new palace or a temple or a church or something to show that they own that land. And so you see lavish construction and lavish artwork sponsored by the state. So two really good examples of this are the Palace of Versailles, just outside of Paris, which is built by Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, which is unquestionably one of the most amazing and elaborate palaces to be constructed in Europe. And yet it was exceedingly expensive, and the tax money almost inevitably, excuse me, came from poorer populations, no matter where we're talking about. In India, you have the construction of the Taj Mahal, which the Taj Mahal is built as a mausoleum. It's a burial site for one of the Mughal emperor's wives. And it's a beautiful, beautiful symbol of the emperor in question's love for his wife. It's a lovely, beautiful sort of love letter, but it is also an extravagance, which took the yearly production of 7 villages. Everything that they earned every year went directly to the maintenance and upkeep of the Taj Mahal. And that is an awful lot of money for people who don't have a lot of it. What you also saw was absolute monarchs trying to show their power through military expansion. They had standing militaries, and when you have a standing military, the temptation is to use it. And so the military is not cheap. You have to feed it. You have to pay your soldiers effectively. You have to buy the latest weapons. And so frequent wars of expansion were another thing that led to high taxation. And these taxes, like I said, they almost always targeted the poor, not the rich. And that is because absolute monarchs wanted to keep the aristocracy on their side. They wanted to keep the rich happy. They needed them to not rebel. But the poor people didn't have a lot of political power or weapons, and so they just got taxed heavier and heavier. And as you might imagine, this is ultimately going to cause political instability that we're going to see next unit. So this right here is an example of one of our major problems with absolutism. This right here is Carlos the Bewitched of Spain. Yes, that's what they called him. You will notice he is not a particularly handsome young man. He's about 16 in this picture. You will notice his jaw. That's called the Habsburg jaw. It is a very, very common feature in the Habsburg royal family of Spain and the Holy Roman Empire. And they almost all have exactly that jaw because this is what Carlos's family tree looks like. He's down here as Charles II, but he's Carlos. This is his family tree. And what you will see is that he is descended from Ferdinand of Aragon. That's like Isabella's husband. And that this ancestor had 2 children who then like you can see the marriage patterns, right? One thing that you should notice is where we have 2 cases in a row of uncles marrying their nieces. And ultimately what this means is that when we look at Charles, count the number of grandparents. He should have 4 grandparents. That's what should happen. So here's his dad, and here's his mom. And his dad is also his mom's uncle, which, yeah. But here's his dad, and here's his mom. And then that means that he has 1, 2, 3 grandparents. That's not right. That's not how genetics should work. What it means is that ultimately Philip IV and Mariana of Austria, Charles's or Carlos's parents, were actually more closely related genetically than brother and sister because of the years of inbreeding. What this meant was that the Spanish state and the Holy Roman Empire, which was technically ruled through Spain, was weak, was subject to advisors like kind of pulling the strings. And it also meant that the Spanish royal family made very poor decisions for a very, very long time, especially economically. This right here is another problem that we see develop as a result of absolutism. This, of course, is the Taj Mahal, which is incredibly lovely and beautiful. It's all made of white marble. It was inlaid with semi-precious stones and the patterns of flowers. The verses of the Quran are engraved around the doorway here to the mausoleum. It's quite lovely. And it's the resting place of Nortaz Mahal, who was one of the wives of the emperor. Oh gosh, it wasn't Jahangir, was it? Might have been. Can't remember which one. But one of the Mughal emperors. This is where his wife was buried. And it's a beautiful, beautiful love story. It is also an extravagance that the Mughal Empire was really not equipped to deal with. Then you have buildings like this. This, of course, is the Palace of Versailles, which you can see. This is just a hallway. This is called the Hall of Mirrors because the entire side of it right here is connected to that. And I'm just going to very quickly see if I can I get there from here? I should be able to. Ah, there we go. I will link to this in the class blog. Yeah, I know. It still uses Flash, and basically everything in the world stopped using Flash a while ago. I want to let it go. Come on. Gonna let me do this? Ask first. Can I do this? I'm not entirely sure. Never mind. We will ignore this. So at any rate, this is the Palace of Versailles, which that's not gold paint, that's gold gilding, which means it's real gold applied on top of other stuff. These are all crystal chandeliers. If you go on my class blog, you know the picture at the very beginning of the blog, where the blog title is, that is a picture of Versailles. It is a place of extraordinary extravagance, and this became sort of the heart and soul of the French Empire. But it also cost an enormous amount of money to maintain. It is a physical manifestation of absolute power. It is also a physical manifestation of the problems with absolutism. So tomorrow we're going to get into specifics about absolutism in Western Europe, and then we're going to talk about absolutism in non-Western Europe, in non-Western regions of the world. So I hope you have a good day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.